should you care about research? There are three reasons. The first one is it enhances evidence-based care. Like research informs the development of clinical guidelines such as WHO malaria protocols and treatment guidelines for tuberculosis. Pay attention, please. You get why? All right. You have to understand. Okay, for the WHO malaria protocol, I don't know, most of us, I don't know if we've heard of the protocol before, but the protocol is, for WHO malaria protocols, the first one is early and prompt diagnosis, effective and safe treatment, importance of combination therapy, what's the other one? I can remember, targeted treatment, prevention and vector control, all of those. So without research, you wouldn't have known that some, you won't know that some of these bacteria actually develop. They have these developments against beta-lactam property. So there have been complaints in the clinics that doctors administer drugs, it does not work. Why? It was because of researchers that the mystery behind this was demystified. They got to realize that, okay, some bacteria, they have this property that make them resistant to antibiotics. So because of that, it was proposed that, okay, you should, administer drugs synergistically. That way, one of them is going to inhibit the beta-lactamase from the plasmid of the bacteria and all of that. So because of that, we've gotten breakthrough in that aspect of bacterial resistance to antibiotics. This is one importance of research to the medical practitioners. For the second one, we talk about the ripe tuberculosis. So ripe is the ripe tuberculosis is basically how do I put it, a set of drugs. Yes, a set of drugs that you use to combat tuberculosis according to WHO, because there have been complaints from the medical settings that, okay, these drugs don't work anymore. If you give them for tuberculosis, nothing happens and all of that. So due to research and all of that, the ripe regimen was devised. And RIPE basically stand for the R there is rifampicin, the I there is isoniazid, the P there is parazinamide, and the E there is ethambutol. So due to research, this regimen was devised, and because of that, tuberculosis has been defeated. That's one importance of research to medicine. Secondly, it fills knowledge gap. The link between malaria and pregnancy complications was understood through research. Yes, if you are asked, well, I'll make a statement here. So if you are asked what are the what's populations or what are the risk populations for malaria, there are two of them majorly. Young children, I think below 5, and pregnant women. So this link, the reasons were not fully established, but through research, we're able to know that, okay, because pregnant women, this, and this, so we need that, okay, if you are giving, for pregnant women, we should expect that, okay, malaria is more predominant there. So in all the prenatal treatment you are giving them, there should always be anti-malaria drugs. So that is one importance of research to medicine. The importance are endless. The third one is that it drives innovation. Yes, it drives innovation. The mRNA vaccines were game changer during the COVID-19 pandemic. The rapid rollout was only possible due to decades of power research. When COVID-19 broke out, most people thought maybe it was something that was just produced because of the virus, but we don't understand that. Okay, let me be more specific. During the pandemic, vaccines like Moderna and Pfizer, if I can remember, were developed before time. And because of this power research now, when the virus broke out, scientists were able to quickly adapt mRNA technology to target the coronavirus, which led to the development and saving of millions of lives. This portrays the fact that innovation does not happen overnight. It's often the result of years of research And the more we get involved as students, the faster such progress can continue. So the last one I would love to talk about why you should join or why you should care about research is career development. I'm taking my time to say this because I know there are some persons here who were not available, who were not present for the meeting yesterday, or maybe had glitches. I just wanted to know why you are here, because some persons are actually here because they know that research. Some people are like, they give money. Let me see, if I do research, they will give me money. Actually, as a matter of fact, it can even cost you money in the first place. But then in the long run, you are going to thank yourself for doing that. So the last importance of research is career development. It improves your critical thinking skill, improve your writing and communication skill, and open doors to scholarships, global fellowship, and residency position. All right, I think I'm back on air. All right, the last importance of research, the last reason why you must be involved, must care about research, is that, as I've said, it improves your critical thinking skill. As a writer, somebody who has, participated in a lot of essay competitions, which involved, research skill and all of that, I can tell you that an average writer has a more, a sharper critical thinking skill than the other persons, because I don't know if you know what it takes to articulate words. Sometimes those essays will be like 5,000 words, 6,000 words. You know what it takes to articulate words without repetitions, without, it's a lot. It takes a lot to write an essay competition. It takes a lot to put your thoughts into writing. It takes a lot to, research and, satisfy your curiosity. Those things actually help you. Like, we're talking about the personal level right now. It increases and improves your critical thinking skill. It also improves your writing and communication skill. I can tell you, as medical students, scholarships are very inevitable, given the rising demand, the rising and the exacerbating expenses of medical school fees. Yes, scholarships are one major way where you can, actually help yourself. And I can assure them, as somebody, a scholarship tutor in my MSA, by God's grace, where I tutor over 800 medical students on how to prepare for scholarship and all of that. And I can assure you, I can tell you with so much proof that over 90% of the scholarship available these days, they require you to write one essay or the other. You can't just, it's only all those NMP, so those oil companies, is a scholarship that will just give you based on your CGPA. But 90% of the scholarship of the good scholarship that pays you good money, they will request that, why do you think you deserve a scholarship? Or what is your motivation? What is your long-term career goal? Like, there must be a question that will require you to write one or two things. That's to tell you about the importance of research. And if I type that researches, I type that, you have given yourself to writing, I can assure you, and not to boast, currently over on 15 scholarships. Not because, as a matter of fact, in my CGP, if you want to rate CGP Mac, I don't think I'm in top 50. Yes, I don't think I'm top 50 or maybe top 77. I don't think I'm there. But in my class, nobody has more scholarship opportunities than me. It's not because I'm too smart, but the reason is because, as somebody who has given myself to writing, even right from secondary school, what I do is, before the beginning of every session, every semester, I, prepare, because there's some questions that every year, in every different scholarship, they must ask you. So what I do, I already have a write-up from 100 level, write-ups on why do you think you deserve scholarship, write-ups on what's your personal, tell us about yourself, or write a detailed personal statement, scholarship on what's your motivational goal, what's your career plan. So before the beginning of every session, I already have a well-detailed write-up on that. And I've had those ones since 100 level. So just that after every session, I just go and modify it, because English changes and all of that. I just modify, change some things, and on a spot, I can apply for 7 different scholarships without any stress. So why somebody is trying to, because of pressure, because of duress, you're trying to just write something substandard, trying to, go to plagiarism, go and commit plagiarism offense. That's one major reason why people commit plagiarism offense. We're going to talk about that later. because there's no enough time. You're medical students, you have your CA coming up, you have campus, you have pharmacology coming up, and you want to apply for scholarship. Most time you just go to AI, most time you just go online, copy somebody work, and that will reduce the originality of your work. But someone like me now, the advantage I already have is that I already have my essays well detailed right from the beginning of the session, and I've read them, I've proofread them, I've sent to all my bosses, my seniors. They have helped me so I already have it. Whenever I want to apply for a scholarship now, I can assure you that there's no scholarship that will come out today that I don't have the personal statement, the write-up to. That's whenever I send a scholarship and they want me to write something, I just go there. Okay, they start to write on. I just go to my archive, go to my Google Drive, look for the particular write-up, copy and paste. And in like 3 minutes, I've applied for many scholarships. And I am so certain. The reason why I don't even have more is because most of the scholarship, they say, okay, don't get more than 1 or 2. So that's that about scholarships, global fellowship, and residency positions. These are other benefits of a good research skill. There are some opportunities I wanted to apply for. There's some fellowship I wanted to get into. And, most of them, they will always ask you. Right? Like, it's so, the most basic skill every student, either medical or non-medical, must possess is writing. That is the very foundation of even research. Most people now the reason why most people here have not gotten a scholarship or any funding to support their medical school is because whenever they want to apply for scholarship, they see write on the be like, oh boy, I hate writing. I don't like to write. And it's people like you that were praying for. That is the reason why people like us keep getting it. Because when most of you don't want to apply, we have already have a well-written, crafted write-up. We keep applying, and they don't have option but to give me. Do you get? So this is just one of the importance. These are just some of the importance of research, and in the long run, a good writing skill. Okay, I think I'll go to my first question now. Don't forget, whoever gets this question, 500 time for you. All right. So if you there's no way to indicate here. I will have said you guys should raise up your hand if you want to answer, but I guess the first person to say it or should I say typing? I think that's the best. The first person to type the right answer wins. Because I don't want you to just open your mic and do it, because before you even talk, the admin will have to approve you. So that would be stressful. So I think the best one is I will call the question, and the first person to answer the correct one to the chat wins. This is just to make sure that you are following. All right. So for what I've said so far, what are the tuberculosis RIP regimen? First person to answer in the comment section, 500 is on. What are the tuberculosis RIP regimen? I'm still waiting for the first person to get it. I've mentioned that. Oh, no. Oh, it's not even allowed in the group. All right. Mr. Coordinator, sir, Director.
Sorry,
how do we make it interactive if the group is locked and for them to talk, they have to, how do we do that?
Okay, so they can actually raise up their hand, and I can actually unmute few people.
So please raise up your hand if you have the feature. If you can raise up your hand, please. I can't see anybody raising up their hand. Okay, I think I saw.
Good evening, sir.
So, Suleiman Yusuf. All right.
Good evening. Do you hear me, sir?
I can hear you.
Okay. RIPE, Rifamycin, Isoniazid, pyrazinamide, and Etodo.
All right. Thank you so much, Suleiman. That was correct. So I already spoke about the RIP regimen as one of the importance of research. And I said R there is rifampicin, I there is isoniazid, P is pyrazinamide, E is ethambutol. So I have 6 more questions to go. If you don't win, don't worry, you win. Suleiman, I've noted your name. I'll drop my number so you can message me afterwards for your 500 airtime. And admin, I don't know, for a more fair. Well, anyway, I don't know if this one is efficacious. No problem, because I want to hear them speak or maybe type in the group. But if this is how it was, if you feel this is the best way, no problem. So thank you so much, Suleiman. Thank you so much. Okay, sir. Director, sir.
Hello, Ellen. Let me open you. Let me
All
open
right.
you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. So the director will open the group now. I said I have 6 more questions to go. The last question is going to be 1,000 naira time, and a free editing of any of your work in Tunisian Premium. I have access to that. So in case you have any work, any research work. So now the last question will come with that prize. So let's proceed. Please. I want to pay attention because I assure you that you're going to really, really, really appreciate it. So I'll start with what's research? Like, what do we mean by research in the first place? It's a systematic way of asking and answering questions to create new knowledge. Central to research is asking of questions. Curiosity is the very root of research. You must be curious. Like, why? Like, why? Like, I don't understand. If you don't have that kind of curiosity, I don't think research is for you. But you must be burning with so much passion, and I know agree. Why this thing be like this? It is that passion, that curiosity that will drive you to, okay, let's see where the issue is coming from. So, questions like, does smoking really cause lung cancer? I think about 2-3 weeks ago, one of my professors was telling me that he was telling us in class, that he does not believe that smoking can cause lung cancer. He was telling us that since when he was young, his father has been smoking, and he was just sitting in one corner and hoping that one day this man will just come. The man is 97 now, no lung cancer. So that man now has his own reason. So, and he said he's currently working on a paper on that. No, you cannot hold him. He has his own reason. So far you can prove it with scientific basis and inquiries, no problem. So that kind of man, is very curious that no, which one is, if you see, maybe I remember I asked a question in class about the risk factors for lung cancer, and I think one of us answered smoking. Then he said, maybe for others you are right, but for him, if you put down for him, you miss it because of his experience with his dad. So, we don't know anything, so we have to just take it that way. So, questions like, why do diabetic patients default on treatment? Why is that if you give them maybe drugs or this thing, they normally they don't respond? Is it that there's anything that is inside them that is eating the drugs? Something like that. So that's the kind of a spirit a researcher should possess. So now I'll go directly to the types of medical research because we don't have much time. So the types of medical research are 3: basic science research, clinical research. Also, we have public health research, qualitative research, and translational research. I want you to put your ear down because there are questions flying around this corner. All right, so I'll be discussing each of these types of research based on this 4 outline: definition, key features, examples, and relevance. So, for basic science research, it's also called bench research. And it's conducted in a controlled environment, such as the labs, and it focuses on understanding the fundamental mechanisms of biology, of physiology, and disease, and it's majorly often at the molecular, cellular, or organismal level. Yes. The key features of this kind of research is that it usually involves non-human subjects. Something like maybe microorganisms, like cell culture, like animal models, like mice, fruit flies. And yes, I said it requires a kind of controlled environment. That's for basic science research. Now, basic science. This one, you don't need to be in clinical class. People in pre-clinicals, you're in 100-level medical school, 200-level medical school, you can do it because you don't need much clinical acumen to do this one. So people even in MLS can do it. People in other core clinical course can do this one. So I said the key features, number 1, I said it involves non-human subjects like microorganisms, like cell cultures, like animal models. And I said it's done in a controlled environment like petri dishes, test tubes, and gene sequencing tools. And also, you don't need any direct patient interaction. Yes. An example, as said yesterday, if you were there, is using Drosophila melanogaster. Is it gaster? Sorry. If you remember from your biology, I think Mendelian, whatever. So yeah, we use this, fruit fly to study, gene regulation in embryonic development. Yes, and we also use it in investigating genetic mutation in Plasmodium falciparum, which is responsible for the anti-malaria drug resistance. So the relevance of this kind of research is that it's very foundational. As I've said, it allows many people from various disciplines to participate. What other importance? Okay, many breakthroughs in medicine, like the insulin discovery and the mRNA vaccine technology during the COVID-19 pandemic, started with this bench research. So that is all about basic science research. The second type is clinical research. Clinical from the name. Don't forget I said this basic science. If you're in preclinical and medical school, it's like I sit and do basic science most of the time. Basic science. Of course, I know anatomy is not basic science, but it's still basic science somehow. It's when you enter clinical, you understand that you're not a medical doctor. So yeah, this kind of research involves studying human participants to understand diseases mechanism, to test treatments or improve patient outcomes. It also bridges the gap between theoretical science and medical practice. And what are the key features? This one requires human subjects. Unlike basic science that we don't need human subjects, we say we can use fruit flies, right? So here now we are using human, a patient or maybe healthy volunteers. And it focuses on interventions, on diagnostic or on disease outcomes. And it includes something like trials, observational studies, and safety and efficacious tests. If you're already in clinicals, I think you can relate it better. If you remember, in the process of drug discovery and development, I remember I did that not quite long. There are so many stages, but one of those stages, there's one thing we call double-blinded randomized controlled trial, where you use standard or placebo. Let me not bore you with that. Pharmacology will do that to you, but if you've done it in your school, you understand. So, examples of this kind of research under clinical research, comparing a new cancer drug to a placebo in clinical trials. I've said, I don't know if you are taught in school, you understand. So I want to check if this drug is efficacious. I want to check if this particular there's a new drug. I want to know if it's working. So I don't want to, how I'm going to do it, as I've said, is double-blinded, like double-blinded. Double-blinded in that both the person administering the drug and the patient don't know the kind of drug they are taking. Let me say, there are two samples. This one is actually to treat migraine. The other one is just a prototype resembling that drug that treats. So it's going to have the same color, going to have the same composition, the same smell if need be, and everything that you need to have, just to make sure that you're not going to say, because most times if you know you are taking a drug, there's this relief that comes with it, even though you're not taking the drug. So that's why they are doing it that way. That is such that it's double-blinded. And once you take the drug, both when I say double-blinded, it's like we are picking different persons and grouping them into two groups, group A and group B, different volunteers or different patients, and they don't know the drug they're taking. Just that there will be doctors there, there are clinical pharmacologists there, so there's no fear of maybe there's going to be complication or side effects because you are in safe hands, and the constituent there are something that is going to kill you. So, once you take this first group will take this one, second group will take this one. So once you take those drugs, you'll be observed for a period of time, and they're going to check the recurrence, or maybe this drug is going to prevent migraine, for example. So we are going to be observed for a period of, let me say, 3 months. 3 months. Is the result of the stuff you take that we can say that, okay, this person actually took the standard, this one took placebo. Well, I don't want to take the role of your pharmacology lecturer, but yes, that's falls on that clinical research. And the relevance of this kind of research is that it's the type of research that directly impacts treatments. And it helps in clinical guidelines. And without it, new drugs, new therapy would never be validated for human use, because during the first stage of drug discovery, you first use animals, especially rabbit and mice. But once it passed the development phase, is it development phase? I forgot those stages. There are like 6 or 5 stages of drug development and discovery. So for you to finally get the drug out, that's stage 4. You have to have confirmed it in human and in various populations in pregnant women, because if you are using it in maybe, during the first stages of testing the drug, you use healthy volunteers, and most time there may be complications that can arise from some special population like pregnant women, like children. So if you don't involve these people in your drug development and discovery, there might be issues when the drug is already out, and that's why most drugs have already been called back. That's why you can see some drugs you were seeing before in the market, they're no longer there. Because of what? Because or some of the adverse effects that came with the drug. those kind of drugs, they were not properly tested in their fourth stage. So let's not waste much time on that. The third type of research, I hope you are listening for their questions. The third type of research is public health research. This kind of research investigates health trends, behaviors, and system at the community or population level, rather than focusing on individual patients. Unlike these other guys, that's the clinical research. This one is focused on individual patients. Do you get? But this one now, we are now using like a market survey. That's the word, if I remember from pharmacology. Market survey. So the goal is to prevent disease, prolong life, and promote health across various population. One thing you have to know about this guy is that it is population focused and it's often epidemiological. Yes, it can involve surveys to like health system research and program evaluation, and maybe quantitative or mixed method. Example of this kind of research is maybe assessing breastfeeding practices among rural mothers. Something like investigating the extent of HIV-related stigma in a community, and maybe evaluating the impact of a national vaccine program. So those are examples of public health, from the name public, not just confined to the four walls of a hospital. The fourth type of research, as we told yesterday, is qualitative research. Qualitative. This particular one is focused on human experiences, on human perception, on human motivation, and social context. Like it's a bit explorative and interpretive. Yes, that's the word. And it uses non-numeric data like interview, like observation, and it is more richer in depth, yes, than the statistics. And it's also ideal for exploring why and how. So it's used in behavioral science, in health, education, and medical sociology. I'll just jump to the fifth one now. The last type of research is translational research, which we call which is dubbed bench to bedside. Like this type of research aims to cover or to kind of translate discoveries from basic research into clinical application that benefits patients, and it serves as the bridge between lab findings and clinical practice. And the key features you need to know about this guy is that it is multidisciplinary. So yeah, you're not doing only doctor. No, you need people from lab science, people that are clinically are more expertise than you, and people from even the tech field. So you have to know that major discovery from the lab models into diagnostics tool here are very vital, and they involve preclinical animal studies. Then before you can progress to human trial. Example is maybe developing a diagnostic test for PSA. PSA is prostate specific antigen. That's for prostate cancer. Or transforming lab identified tumor markers like CA125 into maybe clinical detection kits. The relevance of this guy is it accelerates the application of scientific breakthrough to real patient care, and thereby improving speed, accuracy, and effectiveness of healthcare intervention. So I've just accurately discussed the 5 types of medical of the 5 types of research that is available. I'm going to be asking the second question now, and whoever gets it will get 500 airtime from me. This is just to ensure that you have been following and that I have not been talking to myself. So all right, you check the DM. This one is MCQ. The first person to type the correct answer wins. It's just to ensure that you are following. Nothing serious. All right. All eyes in the chat box now. And yeah, that's it. The first person that tells me the answer wins. The correct answer wins, rather. Queen Abigail, thank you so much. That is the correct answer. That is the correct answer. Thank you so much, Abigail. Thank you so much, Abigail. Queen Abigail, thank you. Don't forget, this is not competitive. It's just to ensure that I'm not talking to myself. Yes, because the question is, which of the following scenarios represent translation research? That was even the last thing I said. I said it's referred to the process of moving lab research to what? To clinical use. The second question now, Abigail already got it. Thank you so much. The second question, still under these types. Third question, 500 airtime, just to be sure. This is Easter gift. Just take it that way. So, all right. Also MCQ. also MCQ. So all eyes on the chat box now, and that's it. The first person to get it. Chidera Ude, thank you so much. Beautiful. Beautiful. Chidera Ude got it first. Chidera Ude got it first. According to what I'm seeing on my chat, I don't know on your side, but Chidera Ude got it first. But don't worry, we still have 4 more questions to go. 500 airtime for each. And the last one, don't forget, the last one is 1,000 airtime and a free review of any of your work in Tunitin Premium. A free review. I'll share the password and the login details with you whenever you want it. And all that. So pay close attention. Thank you so much, guys, for following. I'm so happy that you are with me. So we are going next to the common study designs. Common study designs. Study design is like a systematic way. Like, this is the major meat of this discussion. So put your ears down. Like, this is a systematic way of conducting research. Like, you want to conduct research now. How do you do it? This is the way. Like, the way to finding answers to questions. Most of you now, if I ask you, write or make an maybe write an essay or maybe write a research proposal on this. The first thing you do is rush to Google, and life is more than Google, my sister. It's not everything you are looking for is on Google. That's not if you want to be a good researcher. Google is not the holy. In fact, Google is one of the least places you should even go to get valid information, and that's what we're going to do here. Either you're a researcher, you write essays, or whatever aspect of writing you are doing. I'll show you, you need these parts so much. So there are about, I think 3, common study design, 3 or 4, and each of them, they have their own strengths and limitations. So I'll be starting with the first one. The first study design, common study design, is cross-sectional study design. Cross-sectional study design. This is a kind of observational study that is used to analyze data from a population at one specific point in time for over a short period of time. I know this is big English. Let me break it down. I want to, for example, how do I explain this guy? I want to know the prevalence of hypertension among adults aged 40 to 60 years old in Lagos. And how do I, for cross-sectional design, how I'm going to do this guy is what? I'm going to look for people within that age range, 40 to 60 years. I can just walk around, get like 100 people within that age range, and then start asking some questions. Are you hypertensive? Or are you currently on any anti-hypertensive medication? So let me say I sample 100 and 70% is positive. I cannot come out and say, okay, according to a survey conducted on. So what I'm trying to say is this particular guy, now, it does not mirror actually the total 40 to 60-year-old people in Nigeria. I only picked out a section. And that's why this guy, this cross-sectional study design can also be called snapshot study design. Snapshot, a slice kind of design, in that, you are just using a single. I want to check the prevalence of or the magnitude of stress among Nigerian medical students or final year medical students. And guess what I did? I went to Unibe Medical School. I went to the final year, and then I took like 50% of them, and I asked questions. And because of that, because of that premise, I made a conclusion that okay, out of the 50 persons, 40 people are stressed because of too much book or whatever. So I came on tomorrow and said, according to research survey, about maybe 40 over 50, that's around 80%. About 80% of Nigerian medical students. Don't forget, I used Uniben only. So that kind of design is how do I put it? It's one of the simplest and the most commonly used type of study designs in public health, in epidemiology, and in clinical research. Yes, I said this one is kind of called snapshot in time, like snapshots, because it kind of captures a slice or a fraction of a population at a given moment, measuring both the exposure and the outcome simultaneously. Now, in this study design, know that there's no follow-up. There's no follow-up. Like, there's no tracking over time. You don't observe changes or development or outcome. It's just about what exists now. As I call these 50 people now, how many of them is hypertensive? If it's 40, I'm saying 40 over 50, that's 80% of people around 40 to 60 in Nigeria is hypertensive. That's the most common one. And that characteristics of this kind of design, the first one I said is this kind of design is characterized by something we call snapshot in time, in that it captures just a slice of a population, measuring both the exposure and the outcome. And the second one, I said there's no follow-up. There's no follow-up. You don't observe, say, okay, over time, what's happened? No. What exists now? That's what I'm working with. The third characteristics of this kind of design is prevalence study. Like, it's commonly used to kind of assess the prevalence of a disease, of a condition, or maybe of any characteristics, maybe like smoking, hypertension, or HIV status in a given population. So I'll maybe talk about the steps, even though it was not discussed about. It was not discussed yesterday. But the steps is, number one, define your population. Like population is like, let me say, all medical schools in Nigeria. Step two is like select a sample from that population, like maybe just 500 randomly selected students. Collect data on both the exposure, maybe e.g. alcohol use, or maybe depression, and then analyze the association between exposure and outcome. Like, is alcohol use associated with depression and all of that? So that is that's about cross-sectional study design. As I've said, example is you want to know the prevalence of people who are hypertensive, you want to know number of medical students that are depressed, So those are the kind of within, like, it's now. You are working, the result you get now is what you are going to use, it's going to be your premise. Do you get? So that's the first kind of study design. And the advantages, number one, is quick and inexpensive to conduct. It is good for generating hypotheses, and it is useful for public health planning. Like, it's useful for understanding disease burden. And the limitation, however, is that it cannot establish causality. Like, you can't tell which came first, the exposure or the outcome. Like, it's also prone to survival bias and confounding, yes. And also, it is not suitable for rare disease or outcomes with short duration. Yes, that's the limitation of this kind of design. So the second type of design now, I hope you are still listening. I'm sorry I'm a bit fast, because I believe we've studied this. I just want to brush some of the things we did yesterday and add some things. So the second type of study design is cohort study design. Cohort study design. Now, this is a kind of a longitudinal observational study where a group of people, a cohort, is followed over time to assess how certain exposure affects the development of their outcome, usually in a disease or health-related event. And the key features of this guy is, number one, it follows participants over time, unlike this other guy. And it can either be what? Prospectively or what? Or retrospectively. The second characteristic is that participants are grouped based on their exposure status at the beginning. Something like, e.g., smokers versus non-smokers. Now, third characteristic of this kind of design is that the outcome status is unknown at the end of study. At the start of study, sorry. Like, you don't really know. So you are bringing, okay, these are these smokers and non-smokers. And at the end, you observe and compare the incidence of outcome in exposed and non-exposed individuals. So, and the types of this kind of cohort studies is either prospective cohort studies, which begins in the present and follows participants in the future. An example of this kind of prospective cohort studies, like maybe enroll 1,000 people today based on their diets, and track who develop diabetes over time in the next 10 years. So you want to know, how do you think in your textbook you see malaria is prevalent among pregnant women, among children less than 5 years old? How do you think you do that? This is that kind of design. Cohort study. So children age 1 to 5, they are exposed to the same factors. They put them to wear mosquito food. Pregnant women, they decide. People age 4 to 60, they put them there. So, and over time, of course, don't be scared. Doctors are there. Medical professionals are there. So don't be scared that anything happens to you. They are there to resuscitate you. Of course, they are paid heavily. As a matter of fact, when my lecturer, Dr. Steve, was teaching us, told us among the pay all these people that these volunteer persons that they use for this drug development and discovery, he said the money is so heavy. Like, it's not easy. So don't be scared. Don't be saying, why are they risking their life? Yeah. So yes, as I was saying, you enroll different kind of people, different cohorts. Oh yeah, this one is 1 to 5. Then you expose them to the same thing, and then maybe over some time, which cohort develop diabetes, which cohort develop malaria, That way I can come with so much alacrity that children less than 5 years old and pregnant women are the group of persons more susceptible to malaria. This is that kind of study, the cohort study design. And I said there are two types, the prospective, which is what I just talked about, and the retrospective cohort study. This one uses existing data retrospective uses existing data to look back at the exposure and then follow up to see who develops the outcome. Example is you use hospital record from maybe in UBTH now. I went to the record, whatever, check the record from 2005 to identify patients who were exposed to radiation and see who developed cancer by 2020. I don't know if you get. So maybe 5 people were exposed to radiation, chemotherapy, whatever, and then by 2020 I say, okay, how many of them develop cancer? That's the kind of study we're talking about here. And the steps of cohort study generally is define the cohorts, categorize them based on exposure, follow them over time to see who develops the outcome, and then compare the incidence rates between the exposed and the non-exposed. The advantage is can establish a temporal relationship between the exposure and the outcome. It is good for studying multiple outcomes and allows calculation for incidence and relative risk. But the limitation, however, is that time-consuming and expensive. They can be lost, or it's not ideal for a rare outcomes, and there can be biases. Yes, there can be biases. So the third kind of study design is a case control study design. Case control study design. I hope you are still with me. If you are passionate about research, I bet you will not get this anywhere else this free. I'm serious. And it's not to be boastful. If you put your head down, I assure you, once you delve into research proper, you're going to appreciate, you're going to say, thank God for research module NCBA. I'm telling the truth. So now, the third kind of study design is the case control study design. This one is an observational and a kind of analytical study to identify factors that may contribute to a particular outcome or disease by comparing individuals with the outcome to those without it, and then looking backward to assess previous exposure. Let me explain that. I know that's kind of a lot. Like the key features that come with this particular one, the features. Number one, it starts with the outcome, not the exposure. And participants are selected based on disease status, like cases, like individuals who have the disease, individuals who don't have the disease, and then researchers then look back to determine previous exposure of to a suspected risk factor. And this particular one, I think I can classify it under retrospective. Yes, it's more of retrospective. And the steps are, as I've said earlier, is identify the case, like people who have the disease and outcome, select control, people who are similar to the case in other way but do not have the disease. Then assess exposure history in both groups. Yes. Then compare the frequency of exposure between the cases and the control. Example is maybe a researcher wants to know if smoking is associated with lung cancer, as I've said earlier. Then they select 500 cases with lung cancer. And then they also select 500 controls without lung cancer. Then they ask the participant about their smoking history. Then they calculate how much more common smoking is among the cases than the control. I don't know if you get. If you have questions, just write it down. I'm ready. I will answer them. I'm just trying to move ahead now. And the advantage of this guy is that it's efficient for rare disease and disease with long latency period like tuberculosis or cancer. It is quick and cost-effective compared to cohort studies, yes, and can also study multiple exposure for one outcome. And the limitation here is that it cannot calculate incidence or direct risk, and it is susceptible to bias also and compounding. So the last kind of study design, let me check. Yes, the last is experimental study design. We will not spend much time here because I've talked about it somehow, where I talk about double blinded randomized control trial. For those of us that are already in clinical now, you have heard this before in your drug discovery and development. This is the gold standard for clinical research because it is designed to test the efficacy and the safety of maybe interventions like drug, like treatment or vaccines, and while minimizing bias, unlike the others. So this guy is the only one that we don't see bias because he's not blended. Both the researcher and the person receiving treatment does not even know what they're receiving. Do you get? So, let me break down the key terms. Randomized control trial. That means participants are randomly assigned to either group A or group B. That's group A can be an intervention group, which is receiving the ultra treatments or standard, while group B Group B can maybe be a control group that receive the placebo treatment. So this randomization now will help distribute both known and unknown factors evenly between the groups. Now for double blinding now, as I said earlier, both the researcher and who is receiving the treatment does not know what they're receiving. So this reduces performance bias, reduces the placebo effect, because participants reporting improvements, can just be because they believe they are being treated. That is why most time you don't let them know what they're taking. Do you get? So that's why. And the last one is detection bias, because I said earlier, double-blinded method reduces performance bias, it reduces the placebo effect, because placebo effect is like, I'm getting well, even though you're not really getting well. And last one is it detects bias, like interpret results based on expectations. And the key features of this guy is maybe let me say, okay, for example, now a new drug is being tested to treat migraine. So I've said 200 participants assigned to two groups. Group A gets the real drug, group B placebo. The doctors administer the drug, or the patient does not know. So after 3 months now, the frequency and the severity of migraines of both groups, people in group A and group B, are compared. And we can now say, okay, there's an improvement. This guy have not had migraines, so we can now confirm that of a shorty, this guy took the standard. This guy took what? Placebo. So the advantage, as I've said earlier, is minimized bias. And there's high internal validity. And then I said the randomization help in balancing confounders. But the limitation is ethical concern. Because some people believe that, are you going to give me waiting? What if I can't die? This kind of Nigerian mentality. So, yes. And also it's expensive and time consuming. And however, it's not always feasible. So that will be the end of this one on study designs. And I have, how many questions do I have here? Let me check. 1, 2. 2, right? Yeah, 2. And I'll be done with this particular session before I go to the next one. I have 2 questions, and don't forget, whoever wins gets 500 time. This is not the last question. When it's time for the last question, I'm going to tell you the last question, as I'll say again, gets 1,000 naira time and a free access to Trinity Premium to review any of your work. So now, this is a question under common core study design and all of that. So how high should be on the chat box, and of course it's going to be MCQ. Yes, MCQ. All right. So the first person, according to what I'm seeing here, wins 500 airtime, and that's it. First person wins 500 airtime. I'm still waiting. All right. Victoria has it. Victoria. Thank you so much. It shows some people are listening. The answer is C. All the answer you are seeing here is what? There's nothing out there. It's everything. I'm just doing this to ensure you are following. And also, as I've said, this is a star giveaway from my own end. So, yeah, the answer is C. And you know the explanation, right? I want to believe you know it, because I said some people made a mistake. So, as I've said, prospective core design classify participants based on exposure and then track them forward in time to observe outcomes. Case control studies start by identifying those who already have the outcome, that's the cases, and those who do not, that's the control, and then look backward to determine past exposure. Thank you so much, Victoria. God bless you. So the second question now, before I will be done with introduction to research, they will enter the meat of the discussion, which is plagiarism. Plagiarism is that's the major thing. I'm going to spend my time there, and there's not going to be, I said the winner gets 1,000 item and whatever, so let me not repeat that too much. So my question for the next section of this is going to be at the end of the lecture. So yeah, but this is the second question for this cohort study design, for this study design, all of that. So the first person gets 500 item from me. After this call, I will drop my number. The winner should message me. The winners only. Thank you so much. So check the chat box now for the question. The first person wins 500 at a time. There's no fight here, just for you to ensure that you are getting something. So there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Chidera again. Should I give to Chidera? No. I think, I'm sorry, but Chidera has won before. Victoria has won before. I think I'll give it to Icent Chibuike. Thank you so much, Chidera. Thanks so much, Victoria. I appreciate it. It shows you guys are listening from the depth of my heart. God bless you. I'm so much happy they are listening. However, just to make it more, widespread, I'll be giving it to Ibenyi Icent Chibuike. Is the first person. He or she is the first person. So Chibuike is a male name, huh? So he's the first person to get it. So thank you so much. Yes. I don't think this needs an explanation now, because I said this guy, double-blind randomized control trial, reduced bias because what? Neither participant nor researcher know who received intervention that is standard or placebo. So this randomization, I said, ensures that both known and unknown confounders are evenly distributed, and this enhances internal validity and the reliability of cause-effect relationship. So I'll quickly rush through the remaining section of this introduction, and then I'll enter the plagiarism part, which is like the meat. All right. Okay. I'll just rush through the research process. The research process is an acronym for that. The acronym is PICORM. PICORM. What does the P there start from? The P there is problem. Like, what gap are you trying to fill? The I there is, what's your central research question? The I there stands for idea. P is problem. I is idea. So it's like, what's your question? Like, why for the C there is context. I hope you are putting your ears down. C there is context. Like, what have others found already? The O there is what? Objectives. What are you trying to achieve? The R is research design. And the M there is methodology. PICORM. PICORM. All these things are very sacrosanct, and you know them. It's not like I can write there's if you must okay, I'm a researcher. We're able to ask you, so tell me about the research process. You can okay, it's PICORM, this is I'm able to ask you, so what are the it's just like you saying you are a programmer. I ask you, what programmer do you use, what you are saying, what is that issue? Yeah, it's just like you're a fake. You get, so you should know this thing. PICORM. So the PD, as I said, is the problem. Like, you've noticed, for example, you have noticed a high stress level among medical students in Nigeria. That's a problem. The idea, like, what are the major stressors of an medical students? The C there is context. Like, what are the studies that people have done before now on stressors from Nigeria? O there is objective. Identify key stressors among medical students. That's what you're trying to do. Why your research design is what? What kind of research? Is it cross-sectional? Is it that? So methodology is self-reported survey. So I think that will be all for that. Let me check the documents. So yes, okay, let me quickly talk about how to get started. For most of you that say, okay, after all this talk, we'll talk now. Okay, I like research. I want JAPA. I want this one. I want these stats. Don't worry, we got you covered. The first thing is start with a case report or literature review. Volunteer for ongoing research. I will not have enough time to discuss literature review, but I think the best way to get started, as we recommend here, is join research organization like FAMSA, SCOMA, like MIMSA, SCORE, like any like UBEMSA. I mean UBEMSA. So I have to say that UBEMSA Research Hub. We have that. Join that. If you're in UI, we have the college research institution or whatever, or university, whatever. Join that, because you are going to understand better things there. That's the first way to get started. That's the first one. Then later I can talk about maybe as I've entered. So yeah, of course, you're going to get mentors there. Mentors, clinicians, consultants, professors. Like me, I have 3 mentors on research. For my preclinical, I got my professor in physiology, Professor Uche. In fact, if you see both of us talking, you think we are mates. Even though this is someone that's even older than my father. Because of research, just put us closer. And that clinicals, I was like, oh boy, I need to get into Yale. Boy, no, I want to meet my my this thing. How do they call him again? The CMAC. No, just talk to him. I'm interested. Those they like it. They like, as we are going to your ward round, or this your SR, talk to them, sir. I go to posting where now. So, sir, I don't know if there's any research I want to. You want to join research? Yes. So have you done anyone before? No, but I think I have the. Let me see your work. Before that's what you introduce you. So mentor. So most of us saying you have to get mentor hard. Of course, mentorship is hard. I will not even lie. The higher you go in life, the higher you succeed in life, you understand that it's very hard to mentor people. Because if you're mentoring somebody, it's like you're putting your name on the line. If the person mess up tomorrow, there will be a dent to your reputation. Do you get? So that's not about that. The challenges, fear of failure, lack of mentorship, those are some of the challenges that people face in research. So conclusion for introduction to research, I'll be concluding with saying, let your curiosity lead you. Let that burning passion lead you. The same thing with medicine as a whole, medicine as a course. I can assure you, I know most of you are here. Most of us are saying, I don't get passion for this course, so now money no day in the first place. So if you are saying, I here because of money, I pity you. There's no money. People in computer science, 4 years, they're out and they are making heavy millions. So let curiosity, let passion lead you. Don't worry, you're in clinicals, you're in preclinicals, you don't have passion, no problem. When you enter clinical, passion will fall upon you. When you start going for posting every day, community has hold you. You don't know when passion will fall upon you. So don't worry. We'll not talk about that. So, conclusion, let curiosity lead you. You don't have to be perfect to start. You don't have to be the best of writer to start. You just have to collaborate. You just have to learn and share. Take advantage of this kind of organization I've told you, like in SCOCB. In SCOCB, if you're part of SCOCB general groups, I assure you it's a good place to start. There are so many webinars, so many courses going on research. You can never miss it. And the last thing I'll be saying here is, please leverage digital platforms. There are so many courses online, free online courses on research and all of that. Please leverage these opportunities. With that will be the end of this first session on introduction to research. Immediately, I will be delving into plagiarism and reference management system. I'm so much excited about it because as somebody, by God's grace, I have won not less than 10 essay competitions, both nationally, internationally, and locally. From my secondary school, I've been a very good writer. The first essay I ever won in my life was in primary 5, NTA National Essay Competition. I'll not forget. I remember I went to Abuja, my mother eating rice and everything. So it was so sweet. I went to secondary school, was anything essay. Then, if you're from Ondo State, probably you will know me. Secondary school then, when I go for school, I think it's only Greater Tomorrow then, I used to give me when I go for essay competition. I was so good with words. I used to, when it comes to essay, if I enter, there's this respect. So that energy consumed, that joy consumed me. I never knew when you enter to university, it's a different ballgame. I won so many essays in secondary school. Oyato, Governor Olusegun Mimiko, now late. It was the governor during my time. Organized, essay competition. I won it. First in the States. At least before I entered school, I won at least 4 laptops for myself because of essays. So it's a very lucrative field that you must. If you want to venture into, you can do it. You can go online, it's still there. Just type my name, you see it. So when I go to the university, I was like, yes, let me continue eating up, winning my money they go. Because when I was in university, I used to see, some of my, people that is my senior colleagues then in university that maybe win essay, maybe their friend win essay. I'll be seeing money. I say, Jesus, 1 million naira and MacBook. I say, yeah. Now so it be. I can't wait to enter university. So as I enter university, the first essay that I attempted was organized by the University Campus Journalists, University of Benin. The title, if I can remember, was Corruption Destroys. And me, good with English, good with grammar, I attacked it. And unfortunately for me, they even released list of the top 30. Do you believe I was not there? I said, no, people don't know, you don't know who you're talking to. I was not in the list of top 30. What? How? And the essay there was open to 100 levels. So even as I was okay, it's not called that experience, but it was open to 100 levels there. So you mean I was not top 30 in 100 level? And that essay came. I can't remember. I think one name sound essay that came again. I was not among top 10 because we were giving top 10. I think top 3 they give them money. certificate, then the top 4 to 10, they give you certificates of whatever. I was not there. No, something is wrong. And then there's bars there. I will tell you, don't give me. I never knew it's a different ballgame. What makes it different is research, referencing. If you give me those days in secondary school, who know about referencing? Give me topic, let me use English to cover everything. In my wife, I remember I said I had one. If I remember the topic, it was one article. I pour English. I know how to craft words. So, but I don't know that you have to go online to back up your data according to WHO. I never knew to say, I say here, something like this. So after the first 5 failures, I said no. I had to cower into my share that something is wrong. No. Something is wrong. You can't tell me I wrote 5 essays. I know in my state, it's not mouth. They know me. So which one we say I write 5 essays? I think even the top 10. No, something must be wrong. So luckily that period, COVID-19 came up. So COVID-19 came up and that period, after maybe let me say first semester in 100 level, after I don't collect, COVID-19 came up. I met a mentor, a lady, she's not a graduate, UNN, of Abiodun Favour, God bless her, wherever she is. I told her, I met her through, because I joined one group, see? That's why I told you guys, join groups, join association. So join the group, I saw the lady at least, in her undergraduate days, she won less than 30 essays, or 50, I'm not sure if it's exaggerate, check it online. She won essay like water. And I always posted in that group, correlation. What did it happen? People Benuju, at least, almost 50 essays. Now, before you know, I'm seeing a video. I got a number, so I'll say her status. She said, on plane going to Dubai. I said, Jesus, Dubai to go and collect award. What is going on? This girl, like, it's as if it's a constant. She must always win. I'll say, auntie, no verse. That was an Igbo girl. So, there's this a big bar. So I just use it. If you use the language, talk to somebody, is sweet. Just use Igbo, follow and talk. One name, they will. As I follow and talk, she happy. Okay, this is my brother. I'm a writer. I first give her my background, give her my CV. Say myself, no small. I want to, say maybe I don't know anything. So I was telling me, say no small, I don't win. But I enter school, guess what? I don't write like 5. I didn't even follow top 10. She say, wow. Like she was not seeming surprised like I am. I first give you my background, I read my CV to you. I was say, what happened? They're like, okay, that's normal. No care. No, sir. In my mind, I was like, if they even carry me and this girl put for one place, I feel bitter. I was in my mind, I was like, maybe she has connection. Those days, when I was not winning, my conclusion was that this person, don't bribe them. Now I brought that, but it was becoming too much. If you get everybody for everywhere now, now only you get for Nimasa, get for NCBA. I said, no, she cannot be that, popular that she will have everybody there. Then I went close to her. I told her, this is my issue. Can you help my life? Then she told me that, I've heard about research. No, she actually sent my work to her. I sent my work. I remember she replied with laughing emoji. I was angry, although she senior me for at least 5 years. Well, I felt insulted. I'm very sure if they carry both, if they check our secondary school record, reach me in my mind. True. Reach me. So which one we say, I sent you my work, you laugh. Are you okay? She just say, have you done research before? Research. Okay, leave research. My command of English is crazy. So don't tell me if I know research. Then she now said, okay, let's have a call. The next day, she did a Google Meet call. Then we talked at length. She showed me samples of her work, told me what research. She sent me videos on YouTube. I meant to go and learn what research is. What makes some people work outstanding. That was how I got to learn that, okay, I have to cite a credible source that according to, I said, okay. No be by English again. No be to say, me, I was thinking is how fluent, how good you are. They know me. I used to carry dictionary up and down now. I know English. I never knew it's a different word. So she introduced me to research and sent me some videos. I watched them and all of that. Then she started giving me some, questions. Okay, discuss this. So me, guess what? I don't know much. I'll go to Google. Maybe she told me that, okay, look, I'll write an essay on the importance of AI in medicine. So me, I'll just go online. Importance of AI, I'll type it. AI importance in medicine. But I put many people will bring many things and I'll be looking for anyone. I know it was so strange. I don't know. Okay, for something that suits me, and I say, okay, according to Guardian newspaper, AI is good for medicine because oh my goodness, it was so crazy. So I have to tell you this story so that you will know that it's a long journey, because most people just think, these things about just, there's a lot of things you need to know, but I don't want to waste any further time. So, plagiarism and reference management system. So I'll be discussing this under the following subheadings: introduction, forms of plagiarism, reasons for plagiarism, consequences of plagiarism, and what? How to avoid plagiarism in research. Plagiarism defined as it is defined as what? Using someone else's work. Just like what I was doing. According to, before I continue, I have to say something to all the writers in the house or intended writers. Please and please, on no account, even if you are going to cite the person, cite the ancestor, cite the family background, on no account must you use somebody's words verbatim. Even though you are going to put according to the Beto, please and please paraphrase it. And the paraphrasing is, don't say, because some of you are very good with thief. You will now paraphrase finish, I will now go and make it your work. Thank God we have very advanced plagiarism detector like Tunitin and originality AI. No matter how good you are, even though it's the person idea that you paraphrase with all the English, it will still catch you. That's the truth. But yes, this is a general rule. Before I continue, general rule is on no account must you paraphrase or must you take somebody's work word for word. The only place you are permitted to take somebody's work word for word is when it's quote. Because you cannot, apart from quote, even though you are citing from a Nigerian Medical Journal that HIV and AIDS is transmissible, for example, on no account must you use it word for word, paraphrase it, but still give them the credit. That way, because, okay, as I continue, I will tell you why. So yes, it is defined as using somebody else's work without giving proper credit. And it is also characterized by presenting another intellectual property as your own, either intentionally or non-intentionally. So the intention, I know sometimes, actually, most of the time, you don't want to plagiarize. You don't even, most time you'll be surprised if I tell you that this is your work. Yesterday, one of my classmates, because I had a writers group in my school, you start writers up, over 500 persons there, where I, update them on current essay writing competitions and also have to teach people. So, and by God's grace, many persons have won under my guidance. I give God the glory. So now, because of that, many persons will send me their work. Please help me review my work. Help me review my work. They sent me a work yesterday. Because of experience, I've told myself, look, before I review any work, first thing I first do is to go and check the AI content and the plagiarizing content of that work. Because there have been times where I spent all the night editing work. And when I finish editing, and I'm going to check, and that's that the person even sends me AI work. Waste of time and effort. I almost wait for the person. So yesterday, the girl sent me work. So first thing I first did, thank God, I told myself, first thing, no matter how beautiful your work is, I think I've always started reading the work. It was so sweet. She was applying for this Providence Memorial Scholarship that pays $500, $250 every year to graduate. So I told you before, there's 95% of all the scholarship in this country and abroad. Westmountain, apply for it. I got it. You almost have a scholarship, you must write an essay. So this particular one too, they are paying in dollars. Imagine getting $250 every year to graduate, and they pay in dollars. That's a big money. So they have to write an essay on that topic. So she sent to me. I started reading its face. It was so sweet. Oh, I said, God, this girl is good. I never knew she's a writer. I know she's a scholar. She's a scholar. She had the decision herself. So I think there are only three people that got to show my class, and she's one of them. Very scholarly girl. As I read her work, I happy. Something just to say, look, before you happy too much, check this work code, because the worst part, it doesn't even, there's a way, I was trained in AI robotics and all of that. I have some certificate on that. I've learned that. But I can assure you that with all my expertise, I could not decipher that this particular work is from AI, because it was so organic, it was so human. I was like, what? It was looking so, the normal human flaws was there until I checked the AI content. 98% plagiarism in AI. I shock. I just stopped reading. I said, I use VN because now VN will contain that kind of energy. I said, VN, Auntie, I'm so disappointed in you. Please don't ever send me AI generated work again. Never. Thank you. With so much anger. Because I'm telling you from experience, I have reviewed work. Because no matter how it's just like using antivirus to detect virus. You can never bypass it. That is why something like Tunitin and originality AI were devised no matter how good you are, is going to get you. So those of you that think you are smart, you catch somebody work, go to Quibos and laugh at you. Because we are going to get you. I've reviewed essay for many prestigious organizations, and I can assure you, I think about last 2 weeks, I was reviewing one essay, and I'm even, by God, I'm going to review something for one Mr. Famsa, whatever. The last one I reviewed, there were 721 entries. I'm not exaggerating. 721 entries. 615 out of those 721 were AI written. Jesus. That is a disease. AI written. And the worst part, in fact, to me, it does not stress me. What I just do, I have the device, I have the tool, I have the page app. I just pack all the work into this machine and I set the limit. Okay, maybe the only work that should come out after that is just like them saying, this is a sieve. I'm packing all the essays into the sieve. Only essays, because of course I know most time it's not your fault that your work is AI plagiarized or content plagiarized. I'm still on the topic. I'm just trying to give you real life experience. I'll run through this PPT, but just to make you. So I'm just trying to make you understand how, because as somebody who has won many essays, who has adjudicated many essays, and tell you firsthand how your essays are graded, because nobody marks your essay manually. Take it or leave it. You will see over 5,000 people submitted an application. In 2 weeks, they have gotten back to you. How they take one? It is what they use these tools. And the advantage I have, that's why my classmates, those days in 100 level, when I was very active in essay writing before I stopped because of other engagements, my classmates used to call me wizard, because any essay I write, I will tell them I'm going to win this one. I'm not just win, I'm going to come first in the nation. They will be like, look, it's not possible. Do you know that people writing? How do you know? How we know you are going to win? Your pride is too much. Now, me know what they talk. Because the tool those people are going to use to grade my work, Tunitin and Ordinary AI, that's what they use to grade it. I have the premium version, because the reason is because, number one, it's not available for students. It's not available for students. Because subscription for Tunitin yearly is about it's about $200. $200 then is about 400, 500,000. So if you have that money, why are you writing essays? That's why it's so expensive. But my advantage is because I am very close to my professors, and all of them. I think every university have paid subscribe version to this Tunitin because of project work. So I'm very close to one of my professors, Professor Oche. So I used to use his password. He gives me a password. So this is the same thing he wants to use to grade me. So when I'm done writing my essay, I don't use AI or I don't plagiarize, but just to be sure. Because sometimes once you carry your head right, you go check and go see AI, you will surprise. And it's not your fault. That's why I said unintentionally. So I was defining plagiarism. I said